So I'm about to take my trip to Indianapolis. I go every year since Butterfly passed away. This will be her second year anniversary. Um, as I was preparing for this trip, I got some news that honestly I'm not really sure how to feel. And I know that this trip is always hard, but yet I love it because being with her family and knowing that they are my family, the connection that I feel when I'm there is unspeakable. I don't think that if it wasn't for her family, I don't know if I would have been able to continue on the way that I have over these past 2 years, because when you have someone that's been in your life for so long, she was in my life for over 18 years, and we were a part of each other's life in a lot of critical moments, a lot of hurtful and painful moments that we both went through. Um, whether it was things that we had to go through with our children or with our family or the people that we dealt with, we always try to keep each other encouraged and to know that we could make it through it. And I would always tell her one of the things that I admired the most about her was that her spirit was a spirit of fight. She had a fight in her and she had faith in her that I hadn't saw in people my age at that time that was so strong in it, so steadfast in it. Um, I would always laugh at her and say, you know, I don't know how you able to make it through some of the things you make it through. And she would say, my faith got me through it. And my faith continued to get me through it. And I admired that about her because she never wavered. And then when it came a point where she had to face one of the hardest moments of her life, losing her son, she still found a way to find her faith, even though she was fighting through it. And I would hear bits and pieces of her faith peek through at those moments where it would be late at night and we would have a conversation. And certain things she would say would remind me that no matter what you was going through, if you had faith, you could get through it. And so right now, her words is echoing through my head as I prepare for this trip and I prepare to face everything that comes with this trip. And the only thing I know to do right now is do what I know to do best. Lean on the everlasting. Because even through the painful moments, that's what kept me going. So, as long as I know that I can be the strength for my mother and for my sisters and my nephews and my nieces, the grandbabies, the sons, the daughters. If I can just give strength to just one of them, what I feel is irrelevant. Because I know that the pain that I feel, but I also know the pain that they feel. Because not only did they lose her, but they lost their grandson, their brother, their cousin, their son. Right before. So when I see them every day through social media and through the apps that we have to be able to keep in contact with each other, when I see that they're okay and they're making it, it lets me know I definitely have no choice but to make it. Because if they can do this, so can I. They're my strength all the time without them even knowing on a regular basis. But they are. But my son said something to me that I didn't think about. He said to me today, Mom, he said, when you're here, I'm your strength. He said, but when you're there, you have to be their strength. So for me, that was confirmation that everything is working the way that it's supposed to. Nothing is an accident. You just have to find that ray of sunshine, so to speak, or the light at the end of the rainbow. I saw a rainbow today while I was with my sister, one of my sisters. And I knew that the way it shined and the brightness of it, even to the thickness of it, I could feel it in my soul. And I knew the shift was happening. Sometimes I can't always explain the shift that I feel when things are about to go in another direction, or when things are about to make a change, or something is coming. I feel a shift. That's the only way I can describe it. So, as I take this journey, this will be my first time ever taking people with me on my journey. And it took a minute for me to have the courage and the strength to do that, because normally things that we go through as human beings, we have some of us that when we go through situations, we handle them in a closed aspect. We don't want to let anybody know that we're hurting, or we don't want to let anybody know that we feel weak, or that we want to just break down and just say, listen, I feel like I want to give up. Like, as human beings, we try really hard to put a mask on and mask that pain and mask that hurt. I've done it for a long time. But then I got to a point where you can't mask who you are. We can only hide from ourselves for so long, even if it hurts. Even if it's things that we realize about ourselves that we don't want to realize. And Butterfly passing away made me face myself. It made me look at who I am as a person and how I handle situations and the way I handle people and the way that I look at things and why I look at these things this way. It made me face myself. That's not such an easy task when you are used to wearing a mask and you have to take it off, and look in that mirror and realize that you are not the person you thought you were, or you didn't handle certain situations in the best way that you could have. So when you start to analyze who you are as a person on the inside, it changes your perspective on life. Losing somebody that is a big part of your life can have a big impact. But because we tend to think that those people will always be there, we take that for granted. And that's what I did. It made me appreciate those that actually love me and care about my well-being. It made me learn to appreciate them more. It made me think about how we can work all day, every day, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, and make all this money. Yeah, you can pay your bills. Yeah, you can go shopping, go on trips. But guess what I realized? None of that gives you the satisfaction that it gives you to know that you had time with someone. That you took out your time, or you took out your busyness of trying to work to obtain all of these things that really don't matter. Because you can have all those things, but if the person or people that you care about and that you love don't know or question or doubt that you love them or that you have time for them, that's a different thing. That has no value. That has no value. So I put it in my mind and I said, I'm going to make more of an effort to try and make sure that I can be there as much as I can so that my family in Indianapolis know that no matter what I have going on in my life, it's not more important than my family. Same goes for my family in Chicago, my family in Atlanta, my family in Houston, my family in Wisconsin. I have family in different places that I rarely have taken the time to go and see and sit down and say, how are you? Because I was so focused on making sure that I was providing the right way. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with providing. It's the best feeling in the world to know that you can provide for your family. But sometimes we have to realize that those things are not more important than our family. So, though mentally and emotionally, I'm telling myself, this is gonna be a little hard. I know in my spirit and in my heart of hearts, I know that Butterfly is gonna be there every step of the way as she always is. And I know that whatever trials and tribulations that will come, that they already taken care of. Whatever we have to face, we face it together. Because that's what matters. We face it together. So, on that note, I'm going to lay it down because it's about that time. I'm exhausted. And I'll see you at the airport tomorrow night.